Hypothetical Treachery by Anthil Morvier. Dramatis Personae. Malavasian, a high elf, battle mage. Inzola, a dark elf, battle mage. Dulcetus, a Cyrodiil healer. Shiveus, an Aragonian. Barbarian, a ghost, some bandits. Scene, Eldenwood. As the curtain rises, we see the misty, labyrinthian landscape of the legendary Elden Grove of Valenwood. All around, we hear the wolves howling, a bloodied reptilian figure. Skavas breaks through the branches of the trees and surveys the area. Skavas, it is clear. Inzola, a beautiful dark elf mage, climbs down from the tree helped by the barbarian. There are sounds of footsteps nearby. Saveus readies his sword, and Inzola prepares to cast a spell. Nothing comes out. Inzola, you're bleeding. You should have Dulcetus heal that for you. Shiveus, he is still drained from all the spells he had cast down in the caves. I'm fine. If we get out of this, and no one needs it more, I'll take the last potion of healing. Where's Malavasian? Malavasian, a high elf battle mage, and Dulcetus, a Cyrodiil healer, emerge from a tree carrying a heavy chest between two of them. The awkward try to get down from the tree carrying their loot. Malavasian, here I am, though why I'm carrying the heavy load is beyond me. I always thought that the advantage of dungeon delving with the Great Barbarian was that he carried all the loot. Shiveus, if I carried that, my hands would be too full to fight. And tell me if I'm wrong, but not one of the three of you has enough magicka reserve to make it out of here alive. Not after you electrified and blasted all those homunculi down below the ground. Homunculi. Don't worry, I'm not going to do what you think I'm going to do. What's that? Kill all of you and take the ebony mail for myself. Admit it, you thought I had that in mind. What a perfectly horrible thought. I never thought anyone, no matter how vile and degenerate. Why not? He needs porters, like you said. He can't clear the chest and fight off the inhabitants of Elden Grove both. By Stendar, of all the mean, conniving, typically Aragonian, and why do you need me alive? I don't necessarily, except that you're prettier than the other two, for a smooth skin, that is. And if something comes after us, it might go for you first. There's a noise and some bushes nearby. Go check that out. It's probably a wolf. These wolves are filled with them. You check it out. You have a choice, Inzola. Go and you might live. Stay here and you definitely won't. Inzola considers and then goes to the bushes. To Malsven and Dulcetus. The king of Silumvar will pay good money for the mail, and we can divide it more nicely between the three than four. You're so right. Inzola suddenly levitates up to the top of the stage. A semi-transparent ghost appears from the bush and rushes at the next person, who happens to be Shiveus. As the barbarian screams and thrashes with his sword, it levels a blast of whirling gas at him. He crumbles to the ground. It turns next to Dulcetus, the healer, and as the ghost focuses its feasting chill on the hapless Dulcetus, Malavasian casts a ball of flame at it that causes it to vaporize in misty air. Inzola floats back to the ground as Malavasian examines the bodies of Dulcetus and Shiveus. We're both white-faced from the draining power of the ghost. You had some magicka reserved after all. So did you. Are they dead? Malavasian takes the potion of healing back from Dulcetus' pack. Yes, fortunately the potion of healing wasn't broken when he fell. Well, I guess this leaves just the two of us to collect the reward. We can't get out of this place without each other, like it or not. The two battle mages pick up the chest and begin plodding carefully through the undergrowth, pausing from time to time at the sound of footsteps or other eerie noises. Let me make sure I understand. You have a little bit of magicka left, so you elected to use it to make Shiveus the ghost target? Forcing me to use most of my limited reserve to destroy the creature so I wouldn't be more powerful than you? That's first-rate thinking. Thank you, it's only logical. Do you have enough power to cast any other spells? Naturally, an experienced battle mage always knows a few minor but highly effective spells for such a trial. I take it you, too, have a few tricks up your sleeve. Of course, like you said. They pause a moment before continuing as a fearful wail pierces the air. When it dies away, they slowly trudge on. Just as an intellectual exercise, I wonder what spell you'd cast at me if I made it out of here without any more combat. I hope you're not implying that I would dream of killing you, so I'd keep all the treasure to myself. Of course not, nor would I do that to you. It is merely intellectual exercise. Well, in that case, purely as an intellectual exercise, I'd probably cast a leech spell on you to take away your life force and heal myself. After all, there are brigands on the road between here and Sylvanar, and a wounded battle mage with a valuable artifact would make a tempting target. I'd hate to survive Eldengrove merely to die in the open. That's a well-reasoned response. As for myself, again, not saying that I would ever do this, but I think a simple sudden electrical bolt would serve my purposes admirably. I agree about the dangers of brigands, but don't forget, we also have a potion of healing. I could easily slay you and heal myself to full capacity. Very true. It would end up a question then of whose spell was more effective in that instant. If our spells counteracted one another, and I leached your life energy only to be crippled by your lightning bolt, then we could both be killed, or so near death that a mere potion of healing would scarcely help either one of us, let alone both. How ironic it would be if two scheming battle mages, not saying that we are scheming, but for the purposes of this intellectual exercise, were left on the brink of death. Completely drained of magicka, with one healing potion to choose from, who would get it then? Logically, whoever drank it first, which is in this case would be you, since you're holding it. Now, what if one of us were injured but not killed? Logic would dictate that a scheming battle mage would take the potion, leaving the injured party to the mercy of the elements, I suppose. That does seem most sensible, but suppose that the battle mage, while certainly scheming, had a certain respect for one another. Perhaps in that case, the victorious one might, for instance, put the potion up a tree near his or her gravely wounded victim. When the wounded party had enough magicka replenished, he or she would be able to levitate to the tree branches and recover the potion. By that time, the victorious battle mage would have already collected the reward. They paused for a moment at the sound of something in the bushes nearby. Carefully, they climbed across the branches of a tree to bypass it. I understand what you're saying, but it seems that a character for our hypothetical scheming battle mage to allow his or her victim to live. Perhaps, but it's been my observation that most scheming battle mages enjoy the feeling of having bested someone in combat, having that person alive to live, but the humiliation. These hypothetical scheming battle mages sound daylight. Do you see it? The two scurry across the branch, dropping behind a bush, so we can no longer see them. We can, however, see the shimmering halo of sunlight. We made it. Likewise. Indeed. There's a sudden explosion of electrical energy and a wild howling of red light, and then silence. After a few moments' pause, we hear someone climbing up the tree. It is Malavasian, putting the potion high up in the bough. He chuckles as he climbs back down, and the curtain drops. Epilogue. The curtain rises on a road to Sylvanar. A gang of bandits have surrounded Malavasian, who is propped up on his staff, barely able to stand. They pull his chest away from him with ease. What have we got here? Don't you know it ain't safe to be on the road? All sick like you are? Why don't we help you with your load? Please, let me be. Go on, spellcaster, fight us for it. I can't. Too weak. Suddenly, Inzla flies in, casting lightning bolts from her fingers at the bandits, who quickly scramble away. She lands on the ground, picks up the chest. Malvasian collapses, dying. Hypothetically, what if a battle mage cast a spell on another which didn't harm him at once, but drained his life force and his magicka bit by bit so he wouldn't know at the time, but feel confident enough to leave the potion of healing behind? A most treacherous battle mage she'd be. And hypothetically, would she be likely to help her fallen foe so that she could enjoy the humiliation of him continuing to live? From my experience, hypothetically, no, she doesn't sound like a fool. As Inzla lugs the chest off towards Sylvanar, and Malavasian expires on the stage, we drop the curtain. There's some couple of treacherous battle mages going on there. All right, well, let's see.